When was the last one we did? We're recording.
I don't know.
Act normal.
My brain is wiped every day after I leave work.
I think the last one we did was December.
Tabula rasa.
What have you been watching for 3.5 months, Mike? Tell us.
I don't want to tell you guys.
Okay. I don't want to tell you. Have you seen any movies
Oh, shit.
this year?
This year?
Or any shows?
God, no. Probably.
Okay, we'll just come back to you during video games, I guess.
Yeah.
You can just react to how I felt about things that I've watched.
Just don't spoil anything.
Okay, let's see. Movie-wise, I think John Wick 4 is probably the top of the list right now as far as movies that I've seen this year.
You said it was good?
It's very good. It's my favorite. I've been saying it's probably my favorite, but I've decided to grow up and make a decision, and it's my favorite.
Did you see they're coming out with a show?
Yeah.
The Continental?
It's like a 3-part miniseries thing.
It makes sense. I thought about
cool,
the lore that they built up, and it definitely...
I actually rewatched, so before John Wick 4, I rewatched the other 3 in like about a 16-hour span. And it was a lot of violence. It had a negative impact on my mental state.
I didn't realize you were so fragile.
Yeah, but he kills a lot of people in these 4 movies. But like, it is interesting to see the progression of the lore, and like, you know, how it's pretty like clearly set up just so that they can make 2-hour movies with constant action. Let's see, other movies. I saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Honor Among Thieves.
It was really good.
Yeah, it is very good. I think it's probably best if you are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, because there's a lot of like sort of call outs and mechanics like that they shout out in it, but and these kind of, you know, sort of tropes and like ongoing jokes.
Right.
But it's definitely it's well enough made that it's definitely an enjoyable kind of low what am I trying to say? Low. It's just a fun movie. Like there's nothing really at risk, right? Like it's pretty easy to guess what's going to happen. Like it's not breaking any new ground narratively or anything like that, but like the casting is very good, and I kind of went into it with pretty low expectations, expecting everybody in the cast to just sort of phone it in, you know, and be like, this is a money grab, you know, like taking advantage of how popular Dungeons and Dragons is at the moment. And it actually turned out to be very good. Like, they were all very into their characters. Michelle Rodriguez as, like, a barbarian character. She was great because she has this kind of, like, almost like a Drax from Guardians, you know, sort of, like, doesn't get all the jokes. Like, things go over her head and stuff, and she reacts to them very literally. But then she also has kind of there's a pretty good character building moment, you know, for her, and Chris Pine as the bard is pretty funny, and is great. And then the special effects, like they did a lot of practical effects, so it's not all this like just super CGI, you know, stuff. And it was so I actually really enjoyed it, and it's funny. There's a guy that I can't remember the guy's name now, but there's a part where this guy comes in and he's like this righteous paladin, and he's the same sort of way where like everything's super literal, you know, no jokes. He doesn't get any jokes or anything like that, and it's fantastic. He's great in it. So Ant-Man 3?
I can't believe I still haven't seen that. Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, it was not my favorite. It was far from good.
Are you saying like story wise, or just like?
Yeah, it just didn't have. I don't know. It just didn't have the magic that. And I've really liked the Ant-Man movies. Yeah. Like I really liked the guy's name, that his like buddy, the like convicts, like T.I. and like that whole group, like they're not in it at all.
Pena?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're not in it at all, and they were like such a big highlight of the first 2.
Yeah.
Because they were hilarious. And like, yeah, even Paul Rudd, like the writing, it just wasn't that sort of snappy, sarcastic, you know, always making a joke kind of movie. Plus, I'm going to spoil stuff. MODOK is in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it is so dumb. Like, they just really did terribly. I'm trying to think of any other movies. I'm going to see a few movies this weekend. So I'm going to see Mario Brothers movie, which I'm excited about. Apparently that's been very... Like, the critics hated it, or ish. It's like 50% critics and 97% audiences on Rotten Tomatoes right now, yeah. I think they said that I guess it's too safe was one of the main criticisms I saw of it. I was like, it's Mario, bro. Like, how far...
Too safe.
Yeah, like, what? Like, we're not trying to break new ground narratively with Mario, you know? It's like...
Give me a dark...
Bowser's gonna kidnap Peach, or try to, and... No, I don't even think that's what this is about. But apparently there's some great song that Jack Black does as Bowser.
Well, that would be the main draw for me
Is Jack Black as Bowser?
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently Charlie Day as Luigi is incredible. Like, I saw one person that said they wanted a Luigi's Mansion movie now just because they wanted more Charlie Day as Luigi.
Apparently there's a movie coming out that Charlie Day wrote and directed himself. Which I don't... It seemed like he doesn't speak during the entire thing, but has a whole bunch of famous people in it. What is it called? What is it called? I forgot.
Thanks for participating.
Great content.
Also going to see Renfield.
That looks pretty hilarious.
It looks pretty outrageous.
Yeah.
It's like Nicholas Hoult is Renfield, and Nick Cage is Dracula.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be like sort of a comedy, and I guess...
Is it not?
I saw there was a Red Band trailer that played before the D&D movie, I think, and it is incredibly violent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like I was like, or maybe it played before John Wick, and that
it's
like,
super
the trailer, we were like, we were both in shock at some of the scenes, like, and but yeah, it does look like there's a comedy element, but like way more action and gore than I expected. But I don't know why, since it's a Dracula thing. But it was outrageous. So I'm going to see that. I have a couple of friends that are like diehard Nick Cage fans. That's movies that I can remember, at least. I'm trying to think if I missed anything, but those are the ones that stand out. As far as shows go, The Last of Us from HBO is spectacular. It's the first show since Breaking Bad that I watched on a weekly, like, that we had like scheduled, like, we're gonna watch it, when it comes out or the day after, kind of thing. And it was like we watched it week to week and like looked forward to it every week rather than waiting till it all came out and just binging it. But if you don't like depressing things, don't watch it, because there is very little happiness in it at all. And watched it with a friend of mine who had not... It's based on a video game from like PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Was the original video game, which is crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But the director of the game was a showrunner for the show, and then I can't remember the guy's name now, but a guy that wrote and directed Chernobyl for HBO. He wrote the show with Neil Druckmann, who is from Naughty Dog, who made the game originally.
Well, that's why it's so good.
Yeah, it really, like, you can tell that, and that, like, Pedro Pascal and I don't think Belle Ramsey, I don't think either of them have ever played the game. I think Pedro Pascal has said he never played the game. But the things that they changed about the game, I thought were just fantastic. Like, they adapted it and changed it to make it work as a show, because there are definitely aspects of the game that are built into the game, but that work as game mechanics, right? So there are definitely some changes there, which is understandable. But I mean, there are some whole episodes and scenes that are complete changes, and they are spectacular. I mean, there were moments where, you know, friends were crying during it. I mean, it was crazy. It is an emotional roller coaster, and one of the best things I've ever seen. So watch Last of Us. Mike hasn't yet for some reason.
We were waiting for the whole thing to come out because we wanted to binge it, and then
just hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's hard to find 9 hours of downtime to just sit and feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah. The other stuff I've been watching, honestly, Beef is on my list for Netflix. I keep getting told, but I haven't watched it yet. It's on Ali Wong and
Steven
Yeun, yeah. And they're like, I think they like are involved in some sort of road rage accident.
Well, from what I saw, they both are having like their like lives break down or like shitty things happen to them. So and then eventually they get into like a minor fender bender.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of escalates from
like
there.
Spirals completely out of control.
Yeah, but it has like it's apparently it's based on a true story or something like that. Oh wow. That's what I was told, and then it also, I mean, it has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, so. I've been told many times to watch it, and that's definitely on my list. That's on Netflix right now. But other than that, I've been pretty addicted to Apple TV. Actually, it feels like to me Apple TV Plus has kind of become one of the best services for like original content right now.
Stepped up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they're throwing all kinds of money and getting some crazy stuff that is awesome, and like it seems like a lot of stuff that's in my range in terms of interest. Like some like dark comedies. I've been watching Shrinking. Have you heard of that one? Mm-hmm. Jason Segel is like he's a psychiatrist, and like his wife dies suddenly. And so it's like he's just in this terrible place, and he just starts telling his clients like it's like sort of that fantasy of like, just tell me what you really feel, and like be real with me or whatever. And so he just starts calling these people out and stuff, and like then it's like sort of how it's like some guy that like just thinks everyone else is assholes and they're terrible, so he like takes them to a coffee shop and like forces them to make small talk, and then like he finds out something he has in common with like the guy that is at the coffee shop. So and then I'm waiting and gonna binge Ted Lasso season 3.
We started watching that actually.
Yeah.
It's Ted Lasso. Yeah.
It's Ted Lasso, so it must be good, right? Yeah. It just makes me every time I watch Ted Lasso, it's like it gets you in the feelings, but it also is just like I feel like I'm like ready to take on anything now, right? Yeah. It's like just believe, be positive, So the messaging I love from Ted Lasso, but the characters and everything are great too, obviously. So those are kind of the two things that are on my list other than baseball right now.
I've just been, I mean, this is a nice segue into video games, but I've just been literally binging like reality TV with like my wife, but also playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla while doing that. So
you're watching TV while you're playing?
It's the only way that like either I can play video games, video games like in my bedroom by myself, but then my wife's like, oh, we never hang out.
Let's hang out, yeah.
So it's like, well, we're gonna watch our shit on the laptop.
Oh.
Play the sound from the laptop onto our Bluetooth speakers, and then I get to play my game at the same time. So it's But then there's stuff like Redfall's coming out soon.
Yeah, are you gonna play that?
I already got it pre-downloaded. I'm right. Yeah.
So it looks like you can. It looks like on Xbox, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be Game Pass. So yeah, it looks like it's. I thought it was gonna be a more co-op kind of shooter, but it looks like it's more. The comparison that I've heard recently is Far Cry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I've played. It's mostly stuff that's coming out. Like there's a lot of great stuff coming out. Replayed Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Never heard of it.
It's incredible. One of the best games ever made. And the sequel's coming out in May. The gameplay stuff that they've put out looks incredible, so I'm very much looking forward to that. The Diablo 4 beta happened somewhat recently over one of the weekends in March, and I'm a lot more excited for that game now than I was before the beta. It's Diablo, and I've always liked Diablo. So
I'm going into Starfield completely blind, just to.
They have an event coming. You know,
Yeah.
E3 got canceled, but like everybody's doing their own event, and so they have like a whole like Starfield showcase going.
I mean, I just want to go in blind. It's like, okay, I trust you enough, Bethesda, to do what you're gonna do. So just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And then what? Outer Worlds 2. I don't know.
Outer Wilds. No, Outer Worlds. Right. Yeah.
They already had. They came out with like a release trailer like a long time ago. But nobody's heard anything about like where it's at.
That was a very fun game. What about Final Fantasy 16?
Also going in a little bit blind on that one.
Okay.
I haven't seen much on it, but the things I have seen, I'm very excited. I think it's rated. It's the first one that's rated M for mature because
it looks good.
It's dark, realistic fantasy.
I'm into it. I'm more excited than I have been for a Final Fantasy game in a long time. Other than 7 Remake.
They need to go away from the mechanics that were in 15. They need to just verge a little off because like
this looks even more actiony. This looks like almost like a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta kind of
Kingdom
thing.
Hearts.
It's definitely very action
That's
heavy.
fine. But give me more control over my character. 15 was a little bit, button mashy, like hold down this button and press this button kind of thing.
Did you do you Resident Evil?
Nah.
I've never played a Resident Evil game, and I'm considering Resident Evil 4 Remake because several of the like YouTubers that I watch have all like said that not only is it the best Resident Evil game ever, that the remake itself is one of the best video games ever made. Like the gameplay and like everything they tweaked in it is amazing.
That's what Ryan said.
I've heard it's a huge spectacular, but I know he's always loved
huge
that
Resident
game.
Evil guy. But I mean, when Resident Evil 4 first came out, that's what they were all saying. Oh, it's the best Resident Evil ever.
Yeah.
And then they came out with this amazing. It seems like remasters recently have really like stepped up. Like Dead Space remaster.
Yeah.
It's on point. And then Resident Evil 4.
So remake is the remakes have Final Fantasy 7 remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Space remake, The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake. It's like building it from the ground up rather than just like slap a new paint or a coat of paint on it and like up the graphics,
updating textures and
stuff. Those like a remaster like that, I'm just like it's harder to get excited about that. But some of these remakes, especially for something like Resident Evil 4, which I never played, it's like I feel like some of those games, like if you haven't played them, is like, okay, are you really are you missing out on it on some of the enjoyment because you don't have the nostalgia for the original? But apparently Resident Evil 4 is not one of those. So I'm definitely gonna. I have a feeling I'm gonna check that out. I may not. I may wait till it's discounted because there's so many games coming out. So yeah, we're gonna come back for see us more often, more frequently anyway. We're gonna do more. Well, of what you listening to, which we've already done. Some Mike needs to do one of those. And then we're gonna have, and everybody in the store needs to do some of those. We're gonna even ask for guest appearances on that, I think. And then we're going to have what you playing for video games and what you watching for TV shows and movies.
All right, I'm going to go eat Chick-fil-A now.
All right, man. Thanks, Rob.
Something's broken.
Double Doty's done.
I shouldn't have had to force that. Oh, God.
Done with Double Doty.
Don't pick that up, Chris.
Man, it's getting blown up.